Okay, that didn't go quite as well as I thought it was going to, but it,
It'll even itself out. It's fine. Technical difficulties in the first episode. That is always the same on every podcast.
yeah, saying I'm getting some weird reverb all of a sudden, which we were not getting. Oh, it's gone now. Yay.
Yay!
Now I'm getting it. Oh dear, this is not going as well as I wanted it to go.
I'm sure everything will work out, love.
Let's see, I'm just going to try and no, it's not working out. It's gonna be an interesting episode. I'm getting yeah. Zane Tyson, you're backstage. Are you hearing that weird like echoey delay or just like give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Oh, that's
I'm not hearing any echo neither.
it's just me then. Yay, it's going to be an interesting show.
Oh, is
Hmm.
this for the first one, love?
I'm going to try and what's that?
Should be an interesting show.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch up headsets. See if maybe that helps. Where did I? Check, check. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. And so far, I'm still hearing myself in it with a delay. Darn it.
I don't think that Tyson can hear us neither. Or
Well,
you.
I
Oh
say we
yeah,
can only go up from here, so there's that. And why are you typing with my name on there? So this is definitely going to be an interesting
I
episode
don't
tonight.
know. But let's just get started and carry on and see how the night goes.
Uh, no, okay, well, say I'll just try and ignore myself. But welcome to the newest episode of Technically Trek with rife with technical difficulties tonight. Yay! Um, I am your humble host, Dave Prime, and over to yeah, now I can see why Tyson and I don't have problems over there.
Yeah, I'm over here.
Yeah, that's Captain Katie. So yeah, hopefully we can figure out what the heck's wrong here, so we don't have issues like this next week.
Definitely.
But oh, this is going to be painful. I say I'm just going to try not to talk too much after we get going here. But and say we do talk about the Star Trek, whether it be a new episode, which we're going to be doing so tonight, as when there's no new episodes, which we'll be having in a few weeks until July 1st when Prodigy season 2 comes out. So we'll have some new Trek to be talking about, and we'll try to figure out what we're going to do with that since Netflix is going to dump all 20 episodes off on us at once. But I'm going to shut up right now and just let Katie introduce herself and go from there.
Yeah, I'm Katie. You can call me Kat. I'm the crazy British woman of the show, all the way over in England. And yeah, this should be a very interesting discussion. We've done all the episodes of Discovery so far over on Twitter, or X as people like to call it. But yeah, this is our first live video stream, and it's already going fantastic. So
Yeah, and I actually think I figured out why I was getting the weird reverb is because I had another tab open with YouTube. So here I am talking, and then YouTube has a few second delay and hey, it's gone.
yeah.
We figured it out. Yay!
Yay.
But I am going to try something else a little different since right now we only have one person sitting by backstage. But just so you know, this is a safe space, so we don't deal with any bigotry, as Kirk said. Leave it in your quarters. It has no place on the bridge. And saying if you do have some problems there, I or Katie will boot you out. But like I said, hopefully it won't come to that. And I'm still hoping that people are like familiarizing themselves, saying that we're in a new format right now. So maybe that's one of the reasons why we have a slightly smaller turnout. But I am going to bring Tyson on the stage.
Tyson, my darling.
Hello. I was hoping it wasn't me with the echo because I'm trying something new. I'm on a completely different computer. You can see the vantage point. The screen you see right here, and there's a couple of others, is the screen that we do Dangerous Thoughts on. If I were to take the mic here and show you this is the setup for Dangerous Thoughts. So I am on a completely different computer. No headset, the familiar. And so I thought, oh crap, what if my speakers, my microphone, my camera, what if I'm doing something that's messing up Dave's show?
Hey,
and I was worried.
F-bombs are okay.
It wasn't. Thank God it wasn't me. It was an extra tab open. But how are you guys doing? I'm so excited, Dave. I'm so excited for your first show. Technically, Trek, it had to be a couple of hiccups, or it wouldn't have been a real show, right?
Exactly.
This is real people, real show, real things happening. So, this is the way it goes. But I am so excited. For those of you who are just tuning in, I've known Dave for a couple of years now, and he is just an encyclopedia of Star Trek knowledge. I could pick any episode from any Star Trek, Discovery, Next Gen, DS. It doesn't matter, and I could give him a few words of the plot, and boom, he knows what season, what title, who was in it, the guest star. I mean, he's brilliant. You couldn't have a better host.
But apparently, it's intimidating to some. So,
and Katie, I just want to say, Katie has been wonderful. And it's about time we have a female co-host. So, Katie, I'm so excited, and it's always so fun to talk to you. And for those who don't know, in England, it's like 2 a.m. right now? Is it 2 a.m.?
Yeah, 10 after 2 a.m. But please do not have very high hopes for me, because we all know. I mean, anyone who has always listened to Technically Trek on Twitter or X, and all of those who watch Dangerous Thoughts on a Sunday, you will know how ditzy I am. I get things wrong. I forget episode names. I even forget what's happened in the episode that we're reviewing. So, yes, high hopes for me being the co-host.
So what you're saying is you're human. I relate to that. And, the fact that you stay up to do this and that you do engage. And, I think some of your ideas are brilliant. When I think of some of the plot twists that we think are coming in future episodes, I mean, you nailed a bunch of them that I hadn't even considered. So I'm really excited. And I'm really excited to talk about this final episode. I cried. I'm not too big to admit it. I cried.
I expected to, but I ended up not.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did get emotional. There's we'll when we get to it a little later. There's one part of the episode that I want to say I actually had a dream about. I don't know how long ago. I couldn't put two and two together, but when it happened, I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, I've got some issues with this episode, I will say. It's not often I have issues with. Well, it's not often that I've had issues with any of the episodes of season 5, to be honest. But I've got a lot of issues with this episode. I will warn you.
I think we need to preface this with if you haven't seen the final episodes, there's going to be spoilers.
Oh, definitely. A lot.
That said, right at the very end, I'm sure you guys picked up on this right away. The nacelles that were magnetically separated were reattached. The little robots were painting the big Aztec Discovery and its NCC number back on the disc, making it look like it was from the 22nd century and not from the 31st century, right? They de-evolved the ship from the outside, and then they sent it somewhere to wait. Why did they make it look like a 22nd century ship? Or 23rd century? Not entirely sure. I think it's mid 23rd century. Why did they make it look like that before they sent it away?
Calypso, the short trek from 2018.
Yeah, I watched that and it still didn't make the end of the episode any better for me.
Is that something I need to see? What was that?
It was one of the short treks from 2018, Calypso.
Sounds like I need to watch that. Does that give a little explanation of what was going on?
Oh, it gives a lot of explanation.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that because I watched Calypso after I watched the finale, and the only connection that it had for me was a name that was given at the end of the episode. But other than that, it gave it didn't give any more of an explanation to the ending of the episode than just that. Unless I watched it wrong, I don't know. But yeah, it's yeah, I've got issues.
Yeah, I switched up the camera so it looks a little better now. I'm saying on the fly editing, woo! No, but like when Katie and I was talking backstage earlier, saying she noticed one big glaring error at the opening moments of the episode. Do you want to share that, Katie?
Yes, when Michael wakes up in the inside the portal, she is wearing a Starfleet suit, a black Starfleet is an environmental suit or something. Whereas when she went into the portal, she was wearing a Breen uniform.
And she wasn't wearing her Starfleet uniform underneath the Breen uniform, right?
No. Do you know the Breen uniform that she was wearing? Well, she was wearing that when she went into the portal, but then when she woke up into the portal, she had the black environmental suit on. That had the Starfleet insignia. So that was a really big editing mistake.
The only thing I could think of, maybe, and it's probably not, I don't know, it's probably an editing error, but it's possible that they're 31st century, are they 31st or 32nd? I want to make sure I get this
32nd.
Right. 32nd century. I don't know if she was wearing a real Breen suit or if it was a holographic suit, because remember, her phaser's holographic, or tricorder, it just comes right out of her suit, Does the suit also do the holographic?
No, it was fabricated. It was replicated. Sorry. I'm getting so many things confused. This is good. But no, the suits that they were wearing the Breen uniforms, they were replicated. And she was wearing that when she went into the portal. She just didn't have the helmet on. But when she woke up in the portal, the Breen uniform had completely disappeared, and she had the black environmental suit on with the Starfleet insignia.
I do remember the Starfleet insignia. I had probably forgot that she went in with the Breen uniform. And if it's not a machinationology that created it, I mean, if it was something she actually had to take off clothes and put this on, then you're right. That would have been a glaring error. It would have just been an editing error. There's no way that could happen. I mean, unless there's other, forces going on inside that portal. You're right.
Well, that's what I thought. Maybe the portals changed it, but I think that it is an editing error. And I think that when it comes to the editing, because they had to go do reshoots with them being cancelled, what I'm thinking is something else was supposed to have happened that led up to Michael entering the portal, and originally she was in the environmental suit. That's the only thing that I can think of.
That's right. I remember they had to go back and redo it because they didn't know that this was going to be the last season, so they had to rewrite some stuff and reshoot some stuff. And they probably thought, well, nobody's going to catch this little error. That's a good call out. I didn't even think of that. Paramount, are you watching?
I took notes of this episode, which I don't usually do, but it's the first note that I've got on there. And it's like, hold on a minute, that ain't right. I'm picky.
That's a big error, but good catch. One thing I love to do, when you go online and somebody says, if you watch this episode and you look, 32 minutes and 5 seconds into it, you can briefly see the camera across the path in a window or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all over that. I love looking at that. But I mean, if this is a whole, she's not even wearing what she had when she went in, that's a glaring error. That's not an oopsie. That's a somebody's lost a job at Paramount.
Yes.
Well, the show's over, so there are a lot of people lost their jobs.
Well, I mean, you might not be the costume designer on the next Star Trek. There's plenty of Star Treks out there. We still have Strange New Worlds that is going. We still have Lower Decks hasn't been canceled or anything, right?
It has.
Oh, it has?
Yeah, saying they announced it about a couple of weeks ago that season 5's the last.
Has season 5 come out already?
No, I'm thinking August, September is probably going to be about the time when it decides to come out.
So, but there's still that's still going to come out. We don't know what Netflix is going to do with the
Fingers Prodigy.
What is Prodigy? Right. We don't know what Netflix is going to do because Paramount canceled it. So either and I don't know if Netflix bought the right only to show it, or if they now own it in its entirety and they're able to create like a season 3 or 4. I guess I'm not that good with copyright law. After the show, ask me about something else regarding copyright law. I'm gonna blow you away. After the show.
Same, but yeah, everybody just, if you're watching on Twitter, just shoot Katie a DM at Katie_XXX, and then she'll give you the link for you to join us. So it's just not me, Katie, and Tyson yapping away for however long we end up yapping. And I'd say I know this is like a sudden change, but I think this is going to be for the better because not as restricted with some of the stuff that you have to deal with on Twitter and all that. And I get to stream on YouTube. I'm live on my personal Facebook page, hildebrand.dave. Hopefully, like some of my friends and family will see this. They're just like, hi. But yeah, on to the episode, saying other than like that, kind of flipping the script on the wardrobe malfunction, I guess you can call it, is that just the fight sequence between Mala and Burnham were pretty epic. It's just shades of the Matrix is what I put down in my notes. It's just very, very big and very I can't put into words like when Burnham fell down into that Golondon core style planet and that Breen just comes charging at her and she's just like, man.
Yeah, and who was it? Maul. That's her name, right?
Maul, yeah.
Maul. I'm trying to remember names. Maul just shot that one Breen, right? That was coming up on Burnham.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this thing is not leaving me alone. Will you get out of my
No,
lap?
we love Callie.
Say,
Please?
you need to love me.
Can I do the show, just one show, without you hopping up and try to steal? Ow, claw. Man, Velociraptor. Look at that. Not even kidding. Look at that.
Yikes. Well,
Oh, he's scratching the hell out of me. Cat. I love Star Trek, so of course I have cats. For any new viewers. They're like tribbles with claws.
But no, after the entire season though, of like Maul just shutting Burnham down, just like you don't care about me. It's like blah blah blah. She's actually after, of course, Michael gave her dermal regenerator to close that wound on her leg. She's finally relenting and starting to listen to her just a little bit. I want to say just a little itty bitty bit.
Well, Burnham took the first smack though. And now it's because she still was armed and she wanted Maul to be unarmed. I get that. But Burnham did a sucker punch.
Yeah. Now, there would have been so many better ways for Michael to disarm her. And, this is one of the issues that I've got with the episode, because from the beginning, Michael was all, there's a better way to do this. There's no need for violence. And then she completely goes back on what she says. And she just randomly attacks Maul, and I understand why she did it, but there would have been much better ways to disarm her, or she could have waited until they found the tech to be able to do that. There was no need for it there and then. Maul had already, settled. And, I mean, of course she accepted the dermal regenerator because she had like an hour before she bled out and she was hoping to save her love. But it was just, it seemed a little bit not out of character for Michael, but not very thought through. Because like I say, if she really did want to sucker punch Maul to disarm her, she could have gone so many, she could have gone down so many different routes for that. Or waited to attack her later on if needed. But I honestly don't think that Maul would have shot her. Or at the very least, no more than on a stun setting, if a Breen weapon has a stun setting. But I don't think it would have come to that.
I'm going to be tossing this cat all freaking night. I think you're right. You're exactly right. She's trying to gain her trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what she's trying to do. And so she gave her the dermal regenerator. You're trying to help. She's trying to gain that trust. And then boom, sucker punch. That's not hello. Not going to get my trust. And there's a million ways she could have said. I mean, she lowered the phaser. She was, or whatever Breen used. I don't know if it's disruptor
stick.
I don't know, but there were better ways to gain her confidence than a sucker punch. Because then now she's gonna have to build that trust all over again, and obviously it didn't happen.
Yeah. It was.
By the way, I'm noticing in the comments here. I've got to change my last name. So you see Tyson Parker. That's me. I'm really Tyson Strasberg. That's an old name. Don't know why it's still showing that. Need to get that fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having to go on YouTube to put comments on in the live chat because for some reason when I do it through StreamYard, it says that I'm Dave.
Oh, let me tell you something about the co-host responsibilities. You have co-host accent, so when you do a comment, it comes from the show. When I do a comment, I'm just a listener right now. But yeah, when I'm co-hosting the other show on Sundays, that's why I try not to put comments, because when I put a comment in the box, it comes out from the show. Like, it's Dangerous Thoughts is sending a comment, and I've done that thinking it was just me a couple of times, and I'm like, oh shit! Now everybody thinks Manu sent it.
Yeah, but it looks like you got to pick it out, Katie, because I mean, Mala made a mention today about Daniel. It's like we're not to that part of the episode yet. We're getting to that. But you saying that you called Daniels, and say it came under your name this time. So
yeah,
whatever you did, you figured that out.
I forgot about that part. Okay, you guys talk. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Cat, goodbye. I want to hear about that.
No, I can't remember this. I don't know if, I mean, I'd have to go back through every single possible Twitter space for Technically Trek to see if I actually did mention it, but I didn't bring up Daniel specifically, but when it came to Kovich, I always said about how dodgy he was being, and there was a little bit of a discussion at one point about him being some form of like time traveler, or I'm sure there was, but Daniels was never brought up as such, but I'm sure it was discussed that it was some sort of time traveler with him knowing, you know, that exactly what the tech was and how he came to know about it as well. But he always seemed to know a hell of a lot more than what he let on. So
there's only two that I'm aware of, and there's Captain Braxton from the Time Ship Relativity, and then of course from Enterprise, Agent Daniels.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this turned out to be Agent Daniels.
Yeah, saying a couple episodes back when Burnham went to see Kovich, they were in that big white room. He was writing on paper. I wrote in my notes back there that I had thought that he might be a Q.
Yes, you did.
Well, for that matter, so in Enterprise, Daniels was a temporal agent.
Mm-hmm.
And he intimated that he was from like the 27th century, not 31st, 32nd century. I don't know how that works.
Well, one thing that I do remember is I don't know if it was if we discussed this particular episode. No, we didn't, because I was very behind on watching Discovery. And when it was actually official DT homework that I actually watched Discovery, and I thank you all for that. But when they went into the future in like the end of season 2, and then season 3 started, I actually did bring up, the first thing that I commented to everybody about that episode is, why haven't the temporal agents got involved? With them going to the future. And I remember discussing it, and I think I eventually said, well, maybe they're just keeping an eye on them from a distance.
Well, who is a temporal authority for that matter? So Captain Braxton was later arrested, but still, there's the time ship relativity, and there's, people from the 27th century or 28th century, whenever it was, that have a time ship. But then there's also temporal agents like Daniels, and I think the time ship was Starfleet. I don't know what Daniels.
He was Federation.
Yeah.
if he was like Section 31, or if, you know, I don't know what Daniels, or is he also Starfleet? Or is
I
is he?
think that
I don't
I
know.
think that there was some form of affiliation with Starfleet. But I really can't remember. I would have to go back and watch Enterprise to be able to do that. To be able to work that out, sorry. Because you know what my memory's like.
Oh, mine's even worse. And I'm not saying why. Just
Oh,
that
of course not, Tyson. Of course not.
but
Mine's not
well, at least it's not vodka.
Yeah,
very true.
definitely.
But yeah, I mean, there's obviously, and then you have rogue Federation captains like, oh, I don't know, Kirk, Picard, Cisco, who are, you know, time traveling here and there.
Janeway, she was a bad one for it.
Janeway. Oh, how did I forget Janeway? Yeah. So, you know, there's, and then that's just on the Federation side, right? Remember the in Star Trek Voyager, there was the guy that was from that 70s show. He was also the president of Earth in Star Trek 6.
Yeah,
Can't remember his name.
Kurtwood Smith.
Yes. So he was also on some kind of time ship. Remember, he had Chakotay,
Yeah,
and he was
Crenham.
right. So there, it's not just, you know, the Federation. There's clearly others out there, and they even talk about temporal war, the temporal accords, temporal. So there's clearly lots of civilizations out there, and because it's time, I mean, you know, how time travel happened, will happen, did happen. Remember Janeway saying it gave her a headache, it gives me a headache too. So even if that was all resolved, it still happened or will happen, you know. So, you know, there's all these I don't know. If we're talking about Discovery, and I don't know what the purpose of that ending. I'm going to have to go back and watch Calypso, apparently a short trek. And then I might not understand just what I'm hearing.
You're going to say something, Katie?
I just don't understand the final 30 minutes of it. I mean, the episode was so bloody good. Oh my God, it was epic. Right up until the last 20, 30 minutes of it, when it, like, basically when it went to several weeks later. And I'm just sat there and I'm like, okay, so several weeks later, they finally get married, which is great. I'm really glad that nobody died. But at the same time, I'm just like, well, something's got to happen. You know, because if they do it as like a really, and I thought this while I was watching it, and I was hoping and praying that I was wrong. But they did it as such a cliche ending. It was lovely. It really was, but they did it as such a cliche ending where, and they all live happily ever after, and they got married, and they're getting back together, and there's a Discovery A being created, and they have a really good send-off, and all this lot. It was too nice. It was too wrapped up. It was too samey. You know,
Star Trek Picard recycled, where Picard has a son. He's now going to be the first officer of this Enterprise. Yeah. He, you know, kind of had some similarities, didn't it? I agree.
It did. I'm so happy that everybody found their like happy ever after, but it was very. It was almost like it was an. All right, I know that they were cancelled and they had to go back and do reshoots, but it was just. It seemed to be going so well up until that several weeks later. But I mean, at first I thought that it was some form of illusion, like a vision that she'd been given from the progenitors. as like, this is like, because she was thinking about destroying the technology, they gave her that vision, or the environment she was in inside the portal gave her that vision. You know, I thought it was going to be somewhat like that, which again is a bit cliche, but still, it'd been better than what actually happened. And then when Michael and Buck strolled across the beach and, you know, beamed out, I thought that something was going to happen there, but it didn't. And then it just skipped to a million years later, and it's like, what?
Yeah, same, because they shot all that thinking that was going to be a season finale, not a series finale. So I think like the beach, that was the original ending, and then they just left it open for season 6. But then when they decided Paramount said you're done, they all came back. They had like a week or two to reshoot the finale, and that's what they came up with.
And it was longer, right? It was like an hour and a half. It wasn't a whole hour.
Which I do greatly appreciate that they did that, because I was kind of like, ugh, saying, what do I? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that it was like a double episode in one, but it could have been ended so much better and still had that, you know, Admiral Michael, you know, taking Discovery out to wait 1,000 years in the distance. You know, they still could have done that, but they could have done things so much better. That they could have made it less cliche, less samey, less similar. You know, they could have done something really, really special with the ending of Disco, and they haven't. And I'm quite disappointed in that, because, like I say, up until about several weeks later, it was going amazing. It was epic, and then it was that. And it really did disappoint me.
You know, they've been doing that with Star Treks recently, ending them on cliffhangers for, you know, if this is a series finale, okay, you're going to fix up. I mean, you're not sending it back to a time portal or anything. The ship is just being made to look like it was before, when it was in the 22nd century or 23rd century, whatever. And then you're just going to send her away, presumably to sit out in space in the 31st century or 32nd century. Or is the ship going to the Guardian of Forever to be sent back like what's her name was? Or, I mean, we don't know. It's cliffhanger, and there's not going to be a new episode to tell us. Same thing with Picard, when the Q said yours is just beginning. Okay, huge cliffhanger. Now what? You know, are you
exactly right? And it does my, because you see, I'm not as bad as Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory, but I like to have closure. I refuse to watch certain things because they end on a cliffhanger, and you know, I don't mind if it's left open, like it ends nicely but left open, like oh, what's it called? Seth MacFarlane.
Orville.
Oh, Orville. The Orville.
The Orville. Thank you. I don't know why I had Odyssey in my head. But the way that was left, it was nicely rounded off, but it was left open for more.
And you know, I agree. And for Star Trek fans, if you think of Star Trek 4, I think that was the perfect movie when you know, it was an end to the trilogy saga, not counting the first movie. But you have The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home, right? This little kind of 3-movie arc. It started on Wrath of Khan. It ended with The Voyage Home, and it ended beautifully. If they never made another Star Trek movie, that would have been fine, because the way it ended, they got the new Enterprise. He leans forward. He says, "Let's see what she's got." it takes off. You feel complete. You feel satisfied. It's great. But still didn't close anything, right? They left it open for, another movie. And in fact, there were 2 more, really only 1 more. We don't talk about 5. We don't talk about.
No, we just don't talk about
So, it was the perfect ending. It was the perfect closure to that 3-movie arc, right? But it still left the door open. But it was, you had both closure and hope that something new could come. And then Shatner killed us at 5. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking.
Yeah, we don't talk about TOS when I'm around Tyson. You should know that. But no, I like things being left open, but I also like things being rounded off nicely. Disco wasn't, and I'm very disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong, because of the time jump between like the several weeks later and
however many decades later,
Michael with like all grown up with husband and son, there's a lot that can be filled in between the wedding and the future, and the same with after. There's like 1,000 years to fill in, but it's still. I mean, okay, it leaves it more open for more track. It does, but I'll tell you one thing. I am going to be so pissed off if they fill in that time period with a brand new track when they could have just done it with Disco. That is going to piss a lot of Star Trek fans off, and I am one of them. If they fill in that gap between the several weeks later and Burnham having a grown-up son with something else that could have been filled, that could have meant that Disco continued. Yeah.
I want to know what was quiet, Callie. What was the reason for canceling Star Trek Discovery? So they didn't think they were going to cancel it, right? They initially were going to do the season, with it open so that they could do a season 6. Obviously, the actors would have been on board, because if any of the actors would have been like, I'm not doing a season 6, then they would have written season 5 intentionally from the beginning with it being the last season. But it seemed like everything was written and filmed with the anticipation that there would be another season coming. So
contracted for 7 seasons.
Was it the bigwigs at Paramount that decided to cancel it? I mean, it wasn't the actors. The actors is the story, right?
It was the bigwigs. It was definitely the bigwigs.
Yeah, it must have been, because like with Enterprise, they were contracted for 7 seasons. As far as I'm aware, now anybody online can correct me on this, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but Enterprise, that was contracted for 7 seasons. But it was only just starting to get really popular when they started season 4, but it was partway through season 4 that they were cancelled. They found out they were cancelled partway through there's 4 seasons of it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was partway through that final season that they found out that they were getting cancelled, even though they were on a 7-season contract. And they had to quickly change a lot of the story development, and that's why we got such a crap ending with Enterprise. And
we won't go there with that one. Even Berman admits he screwed the pooch on that.
That is basically what happened with Disco, but they had all of season 5 filmed. I think they were in post-production or something when they found out they were cancelled.
What drives them being canceled? Do they look at the streaming numbers and say, X number of people must stream this for us to renew for another season? Are there bigwigs that sit around the table and just say, I don't get Star Trek, I don't like it, let's just move? Like what causes a show to be canceled? It wasn't that it wasn't popular. I mean, I know you, me, Dave, everybody, we sit around chewing our nails for a year waiting for the next one to come out, and and we're watching it 2 or 3 times. We make sure the streaming service we watch it on knows we're watching it. And everybody I talk to loves Discovery. What caused them to cancel it? I mean, were they just getting?
I think a lot of cancel culture is.
But cancel culture is, somebody said something or did something, and then they were canceled because it offended.
No, it's not necessarily money. It's not necessarily money. Basically, what I think it is, and a lot of people have agreed with me on this, general things. I mean, this is taking Star Trek out of the equation just for a tiny little moment, but they will do a season, they will air it, and because it's something completely new, they're not going to have a really big following at first. So they cancel it after season 1 rather than letting out season 2 and seeing how that goes, especially if it's already been filmed or part way through. Sometimes you've got to lose a bit of money to make a little bit of money or break even or whatever. But when it comes to Star Trek, and now this is what I think it is with Paramount, Star Trek starts becoming too popular. It's already so popular, but it's taken away from Paramount's own productions, like a Paramount own, like you have Netflix made stuff. There's a lot of Paramount made series on there, and Star Trek's basically taking it over. New Trek is taking it over, and a lot of people are only getting the Paramount Plus subscription for Trek. That's the only reason I've got it. I'll openly admit that.
It was Discovery was a legacy show. When they launched, it was CBS All Access was brand new, and that's what launched. And the only reason anybody signed up for CBS All Access, because we had Hulu, we had Netflix, we had Disney. Like, what do we fucking need CBS for, right? Nobody gives a shit. One show is what launched CBS All Access and later became Paramount Plus. That was Star Trek Discovery. And it was so popular, by the way, that they said, well, shit, let's do Strange New Worlds. Let's do Lower Decks. Let's do Picard. It was, and what happened? More and more people tuned in. And then it was the home of Star Trek. Then they did Prodigy. They teamed up with Nickelodeon to do Prodigy. And people were tuning in by the millions. Star Trek launched CBS All Access / Paramount Plus. They have Star Trek to thank, because no fucking buddy is going to be signing up for Paramount Plus if it wasn't for Star Trek. They just wouldn't. And how do they treat them?
But with the promise of more Trek, like the Section 31 movie, the possibility of Legacy, because that still hasn't been yay or nay yet, and then also
a new motion picture, which would be Paramount.
Well, yeah, but also with a new Academy series. There's promise of new Trek. There's promise of more Trek. Yes, Marla, I also want the Academy with Tilly. I love Tilly. She is my Star Trek wife.
But will it be Academy in the 32nd century or Academy?
Yes. 32nd century.
No, Academy in the future. And yeah, I want that as well. But with the promise of more Trek on the way, that's how they get round cancelling things like Discovery, cancelling Lower Decks, because there's promise of more. So people are going to keep their subscriptions with the promise of new Trek. That's how we get away with it.
I agree. And I'm looking forward to new Trek, but I'll try to do a little analogy. RCA is a record company in the United States. And back in the late 60s, early 70s, they signed a little-known singer named John Denver. John Denver blew up. He became a huge sensation. He made so much money for RCA, it was ridiculous. So many platinum and gold records. And he was with RCA for more than a decade. And as soon as newer artists came out and his numbers started to slump a little, after he made millions of dollars for RCA, boop, they kicked him off. and he had to create his own record company. And and I feel like Paramount, they love Star Trek when it's a cash grab, but then when it no longer suits them, boop. And it's too bad, because if you look at Star Wars, go to Disney and look at Star Wars. I can't count the different Star Wars. Bad Batch, Rebels, all the movies, all the different, Obi-Wan, Akasha, The Mandalorian. I mean, it's just, there's a million different Star Wars, from cartoons to live action, encapsulated movies like Solo. Star Trek could be that if Paramount would let it.
Yeah, but Paramount won't do that because Paramount are dickheads. Basically, they are so lovely for making it the home of Star Trek, but
Not.
they're dickheads for cancelling it. They're stupid.
Oh, they're not even home for Star Trek anymore. All the movies are licensed out to HBO Max.
Yeah.
They're not even on Paramount. You can't even watch Star Trek movies on Paramount. You got to go watch them on Max now. It's ridiculous.
I can't watch them on Paramount Plus.
But we can't.
Not here in the States.
Oh, you have to have a.
The last time I looked, I'm not sure, but there has been a little bit of up and down with what Trek is available on Paramount Plus. At first, when we got Paramount Plus over here, I can't remember when it was, a couple of years ago. It was very limited in what we could get. Enterprise wasn't on there. Voyager wasn't on there. DS9 wasn't on there, but the original series and Next Gen was. And Discovery was on there as well. But we had the others on our Netflix, so that could have explained that. But after about 6 months of us having it, we eventually got them all. And I mean, it was only in the last year that we got short tracks and the original animated series. But now we've got all of them, and the last I checked, all the movies were on there. We're going from the TOS movies through the TNG movies right to the Kelvin Timeline movies. So I don't know what's going on there.
Different countries have different licenses. So in the US, you can only watch the movies, the theatrical movies, on HBO Max. And then you can watch all of the television shows, with the exception of Prodigy, on Paramount Plus. But it was supposed to be the home of Star Trek, meaning everything, all the movies, all the shows, everything in one place. If you subscribe to Paramount Plus, you're not going to miss anything Star Trek. But that's not true anymore, because all the movies are now gone. One of the kids' animation is now gone. Who knows what else they're going to slice up and sell off. Who knows? But it's not the home of Star Trek anymore, not in the US. That's too bad.
That's wrong. It really is. I mean, I'm always complaining that the US gets stuff that we don't, and that it's wrong that we don't get the stuff, because of the following it may already have. But it's even worse when I suppose it's even worse for you when it's reversed, when we're getting everything and you're not.
Well, and for a while, Star Trek Discovery was on Netflix outside of the U.S., but you had to get CBS All Access to watch it in the U.S.
Oh, right.
So that was, and there are different countries. I think in France, they've already released
Prodigy Season 2. That was a complete accident.
Yeah, we haven't even seen it yet. It was a freaking American show. And France got to see it first. When does that happen? When was the last time Japan, made an anime that the U.S. got to watch before Japan? That doesn't happen.
Well,
By the way, I am going to have to subscribe to Crunchyroll because there's a brand new Dragon Ball coming out, but that's neither here nor there.
So no, it's the same here in the UK. UK made things like, I don't know, Downton Abbey, for example. It was quite a while before the US got that. The same with Merlin, but they've got a really big following, and I just don't understand all of this like monopoly on things. If it's released, if 10 countries, I know there's more than that, but if 10 countries can have access to Paramount Plus, all of those 10 countries should get the same. The same with Netflix, the same with Prime, the same with Disney. If however many countries get it, like can access those platforms, each country should get the bloody same.
I would think so, but there are some platforms that aren't in certain countries. So let's say that you're in Indonesia and Indonesia doesn't have Hulu. Well, if you're in Indonesia, then how would you watch those shows that would normally be on Hulu? Do you watch it through Netflix? Do you watch it through, what are the streaming services? So different countries have different platforms, and because they're available, in this country on that platform and in this country on this platform. But you're right. If it's available to you, you should get the whole catalog, right? I mean, if it's but the catalogs change depending on the country because of those rights. Because some countries have certain streaming services, others don't, and so that means the catalogs are different in different countries, and therefore there is no true catalog. I mean, if Katie, you have Paramount Plus, I have Paramount Plus, but if we go down that catalog, I'm going to have things you don't have. You're going to have things I don't have. And that's primarily because Paramount owns the rights to some shows that are available through different streaming services in the US that aren't available to you, and vice versa. You might have streaming services there that we don't have, so we have to get it through a different, like we don't have, BBC4. That's just not something we have here in the US. But, in England, BBC4 is huge. It's not something we have access to in the US. So some of the programs that are aired on BBC4 may make it to us through Amazon Prime. That's usually where I watch BritBox on Amazon Prime. And that's where I get to see my BBC4 shows. And then other things are parsed out to that special they did on Kevin Spacey. That was licensed, even though it aired on Channel 4 in the BBC. You can't watch that on BritBox on Amazon. That actually got picked up by HBO. So you have to own HBO to watch it. It's crazy. It's crazy how, they parse things out.
Now, but getting back on track on the episode
itself.
So, we pretty much talked all about the end. So we got most of that taken
I'll be right back. Just getting a quick refill.
But
keep talking.
But when when Maul gave Burnham the karate chop and she just face planted into the bushes there, that was kind of an epic moment. I want to say, definitely made me laugh a little bit. What about you?
It was very effective.
Sorry, that was my bad.
That's all good.
But I think it's safe to say that Maul turning on Burnham at the last minute, thinking that she was right on everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, triangle, okay.
Yeah, that was very expected, and I am very surprised that she took so long to do it.
But she got electrocuted for all her troubles.
Well, which was like a really, really nice moment for me, because I was just like, ha, bitch.
You just couldn't wait. You just couldn't wait to put the triangles. No, I agree. That was good.
Yeah, and say we got Non again, yay. And she volunteered to go with Saru to confront Tahal to try and get her to turn around her fleet before she got to the Lagrange point.
Yes, that was a very
Wasn't it nice to see Saru as a badass?
Oh yeah, she's like, "Are you insane?"
Oh, I
Yeah, I
know.
just
That's
loved
legit.
how calm she was, though. That Breen person, and like when Saru says, "Look into my eyes," and then
Mhm.
she just looked at him and cocked her head and was just like, "You
You are
are insane," and then just left. I'm just like, yeah, he's from the Starship Discovery. Of course, he's insane. Um, but yes, I agree. I love Action Saru as well, Marla. But yeah, it was nice to see Action Saru come out because I was actually really worried about Saru all the way through this season. I was really worried about him, and I eventually started becoming worried about Buck and Hugh as well. But I'm really, really glad that we got to see Action Saru one more time. Because I've not seen him for a little bit, but no, that look on his face, the way he just set his face was just, I'm surprised Nan was so calm because she didn't even give him a side glance. She was just sat there really calm and composed. And then
Yeah,
she
but
was just
deep down, she's probably thinking, "Oh, this is not going to end well."
Oh yeah, she was probably just sat there thinking, "Don't get us blown up. Don't get us blown up. Don't get us blown up."
Action Saru. I agree with Mala. I love Action Saru. Man, he was not. I mean, I don't even know if he was bluffing. He might have been telling the truth there, right? I don't know if he was bluffing. That was.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just about to put that up because in my notes somewhere, I've actually got the note of, is Hugh using Janelle's memories or has Janelle left an imprint to encourage him to make sure he's in the right place at the right time? So I don't know if Hugh was meant to remember that, but I actually think that it was a memory that was left implanted in Hugh's mind from when he took on Janelle's consciousness.
Yeah, and the way Hugh came up with that 5.1732, it's just like, yeah, that's not a number that just like out of your head. That's something that was put in his head, and then he says, this number comes to mind. Try it."
Well, yeah, because even he said he could not access once Janelle left. He was unable to access any of Janelle's memories. He only had the experience of when they were joined, and he just had impressions and things. But yeah, I do think that because he took him on, and especially with how sweet Hugh is, because Janelle knew how sweet and how honest and how kind and loving Hugh is. So I think that Janelle made that decision to leave that imprinted in his brain, and that could have been the driving force. That could have, well, not the full driving force, but that could have been part of the driving force of Hugh seeking out the truth and explanation and going down that path. And he even said to Paul, "I don't know why, but I know I can help. I need to go with him." And he was set on that. It was as though his life depended on it. And that's the only reason why Paul relented. And he was just like, okay, because he knew that it was just something that Hugh had a knowing of, and it wasn't just, I'm going with him because I'm a doctor and it's my job. It was more than that. It was a an unconscious knowing that he had, and it paid off.
I have a question. So the scientists that originally discovered it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They built all these clues, they hid it so that the right person could find it.
Mm-hmm.
And when the right person found it, they just destroyed it, which they could have done themselves 800 years earlier. Why do all the clues and make them jump through all the hoops just for her to destroy it when they could have done that?
Yes,
What was the point? What was all this, hoopla about if she's just going to destroy it? Or if there wasn't peace in the galaxy, they could have used it to bring about peace in the galaxy. They didn't use the power for good, nor did they destroy it, but they led clues so that when Burnham found it, she destroyed it. So that's a big old long road around the mountain just to come back to where you started.
Yeah, and honestly, like when I first watched it, I thought when she was taken off at the end of the episode that somehow she was actually going to the progenitor portal to, since decades have passed, maybe she found a way to actually get to it, and she was going to take up the progenitor's offer to be the new guardian, which that was a big what the heck moment, that the progenitors actually did not create that thing that they were in. That was like another race. So that just leaves up a whole new can of worms.
And she left it with, well, if it's ever really needed, then whoever the original creators were could just create it again. But then I'm still left with Q. Q could do all these things as well, right?
Hmm.
So, and we're led to believe like Trelane and other entities out there of similar. In fact, in the novel, in what's called Canon B, not Canon A, what we see on television, but Canon B, what we read in books, the Galactic Barrier. Remember in where No Man's Gone Before, they reach that galactic barrier, and there's this energy shield that's around the galaxy, and I think they also had that in Discovery, right?
Yeah, that's like that was like the biggest FU, Breen. We're gonna send you to the edge of the galaxy.
but this galactic barrier in Canon B in books was put up by the Q because it was another entity, I guess, on par with Q. And so Q invented this galactic barrier to keep them out. So if you read the novels, that's what the galactic barrier is. It's a Q machination. So
yeah, I've read that book. I know what you're talking about. It's IQ by Peter David, if I'm not mistaken.
So I mean, Q has the power of creation. He has everything this progenitor thing could do, Q could do. So is there another Q-like entity that created this progenitor's tech? Did the Q create the progenitor's tech? Or did another supreme being on par with the Q create it?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've had when the progenitor said about, obviously they found the technology, it did cross my mind that it could be a Q thing, but I think that's too easy. I think that it could be, I don't know. I'm very unsure on it, but I don't think that it's got anything to do with Q. I've had a lot of time to think about this, and I don't think it has anything to do with Q. But going back to what you were saying earlier, Tyson, about they set up all of these tests and this, that, and the other, and then the person who was right to find it destroyed it. I get it. because the only person that ever reached the place Michael did was the
Dr. Derek.
is it Dr. Derek's?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is why the tests were created. The doctor, obviously, because I read between the lines and things like that, and even though it was never said, basically what I got out of that conversation was the doctor thought the same as Michael, that no one person should have access to this technology. So she worked with the progenitor to create all these tests, and she shared this with several other people, trusted people, and spread the clues out across the galaxy so that only one true individual or group of individuals like themselves would be able to find it and decide what to do with it. It wasn't necessarily, like, this is just my opinion, it wasn't necessarily anything to do with how should this technology be used, who should use this technology. It was more about the right person needs to come along and find it and decide whether this technology should exist or not. If they choose that the technology should be saved, then they would use it or not. They would study it. They would maybe take elements from the technology to better everybody else, or they would make the decision to destroy it because of how dangerous it could potentially be.
I have 2 points. One Mala just made, and I want to give her credit for this point. Number one, Burnham. I mean, this thing exists in time, right? So it was destroyed in 32, whatever. But by that century, obviously, time travel is available to people. They might not be allowed to use it because of temporal accords and so on, but people know how to time travel.
Yeah.
Michael or anybody, I mean, Michael could go back at any time. Just all she has to do is go back 1 year. She doesn't need the clues. She already has them. She already knows how to get there, how to get into it, how to make the triangle. So she could always go back and be right there at the technology, right? She just has to jump 1 year in the path. Number two, it also strikes me that the progenitors said, we didn't create this. We were alone in the universe, and we found this, and we used it to create all of you. And now it's your turn to decide what to do. But it also, speaking of Q, enters my mind that Q was once like us, humans. They were without their immortal powers, if you will. They were once, and you remember that he told Riker, we were once like you, but we evolved. So I wonder if, I know you said you don't think it's a Q thing, but there has to be a point where when Q was a biological entity and now Q is a what do you call it?
Omnipotent?
I want to say immortal. That's the wrong word. They're
Omnipotent.
Omnipotent. Thank you. That there had to be, a threshold, a crossover, something. And I wonder if this is something developed by the Q that helped them to omnipotence. I don't know. Does the
Very
Q? What does the Q think of it?
Well, the story of the Q always bothers me because it's like you've just said. He said to Riker, "We used to be just like you," but then I think, was it in Voyager? He said the Q have always existed. I think it was in Voyager. I think it was in
Death Wish.
Death Wish. He said the Q have always existed. So when the universe was birthed, the Q came into existence.
But were they omnipotent when they came into existence? They may have always been there, but were they always omnipotent?
It was never said, but that is how Q made it out to be. But yes, they could have been the first sentient species in the universe. And yes, going by that, then I will amend my earlier statement and say it could be something to do with Q. If that is the case. But when the Q became omnipotent, maybe the progenitors were the only ones left in the universe. You know,
biologically, right, because omnipotence
Yeah.
doesn't require corporeal form, so there could be
Yeah.
entities that are non-corporeal. And so she did specifically say, when we looked around, we were alone, there was nobody like us. It's not to say that there weren't, like, the Calamarain, which were clouds, or there weren't, other non-corporeal creatures. And by the way, I was just remembering the entity that Q put the force field to keep out was an entity called O. So there was Q and there was O. And O was...
Or was it O or was it 0?
I don't know if it was O or 0. I have to look back up, but it was definitely a Q without the tail. It was an O. I don't know if it was O or 0. I think it was O. I want to say it was a letter of the alphabet. It was O. But you'll have to
won't surprise me.
I do have to step away for about 5 minutes, but I will be back. So you guys keep talking without me. I'm going to turn off my camera here, but I'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right. And we got quite a few people just watching. This is an open conversation, so please feel free to activate your camera and join in and put in your 2 cents, what you liked, what you didn't like about the episode. And say, because I'd like to have more than just the 3 of us yapping about it.
Yeah, and you can DM me on Twitter, KE_XXX, and they're kisses, by the way. And if you're watching via YouTube, the link to join is in the live chat. So please come and have a natter with us.
Yes, please. Yeah, same, but kind of going back to that bit when Discovery jumped the Breen to the galactic barrier. And it's just like Rayner asked it, can we jump something other than Discovery? Until he's like, oh, no. Maybe. And she's just like, yeah, maybe we can. But I think that's and Katie, you and I were talking about it, saying that we actually saw Discovery separate for the first time in the series, because even back because in the 23rd century, starships could do that, but the Enterprise could have done it, but A, production costs, they never did it. B, so they said if the Enterprise separated the saucer, you had to go to Starbase to get it reconnected. It couldn't just like the D did in Next Generation.
But no, I had no idea that Discovery could do the saucer set, but that moment for me is one of the most epic moments in Star Trek ever. And I am sorry, but the fact that they were able to quantum entangle the spore drive and do the saucer set, and that I think I rewound that about half a dozen times just to watch it and just be in the zone, because that was it was a beautiful moment. It really was. I could not express enough how beautiful that was. That actually got me to tear up a little bit because of how epic it was. And yeah, and do you know, in this final episode, I will say that the CGI and the graphics were the best I've ever seen in Trek.
Yeah, they really spent good money on that, I think.
but no, it was a beautiful moment, and I'm sure a lot of other Trekkies out there will think the same. And if you don't, then yeah, it's just my opinion. But no, I adored that, and the fact that they managed to get the other the Breen scout ship in there as well, that was really good.
Say that again?
The fact that they were able to get that Breen scout ship in there as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Into the Zoomy thing. I don't know the technical terms for it. I know quantum entanglement, but I don't know the process of the Zoomy thing.
Yeah,
Jumping,
spore
that's
drive,
it.
jumping.
Yeah. But yeah, my brain's going so well tonight. I do apologize.
It's all good. It's like late for you, so it's always appreciated that you're able to join not just here, but on Manu and Tyson's show on Sundays.
Oh, I'm always awake. Insomnia. It's glorious.
It, as you say, it dripping with sarcasm.
Oh yeah. Although, I mean, I do thank my insomnia in a way, because if it hadn't have been for that, I would never have broken my golden rule of when I am trying to sleep, I don't go on social media, because if I hadn't have been really suffering with my insomnia that one night, and if I hadn't have broken that golden rule, I'd have never have discovered DT.
True.
So my insomnia brought me to the Dangerous Thoughts world and brought me to all of you glorious people. So in a way, I do thank it, but you know, still a bitch.
Well, then of course, I mean, even though the start of the show was a hot mess, like and subscribe so you can get more. We are here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 Eastern. And saying to just kind of tease it right now, saying since we won't have any new Trek until the beginning of July, I decided for next week's episode, we're going to discuss one of the penultimate, like, awesome, like, Trek show episodes ever, the best of both worlds. We're going to talk about part 1 and part 2. So if you haven't watched it, yes, if you haven't watched it in a while, watch it again. I'm going to be watching it again. I'm going to be taking copious notes again, because I mean, I was just starting to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation about midway through season 3 when it came on the air where I lived, and just even to this day, those final lines of the episode, Mr. Worf fire, and Ron Jones's music still gives me goosebumps to this day, because I mean, it's just like that potent.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I will admit I haven't watched Best of Both Worlds for a while. For about a year maybe. And that's a while for me.
Oh yeah.
But I will definitely do a rewatch before next week's show, just so that I know exactly what I'm talking about, because the only thing I know about that episode is that Picard was assimilated.
Yeah.
And they got him back. That's really all I know, and that he became Locutus of Borg. Other than that, I can't really remember that episode. So, you know, I'm a bad Trekkie. I really am. I don't remember hardly anything. I don't remember episode names hardly at all. When an episode is discussed, I barely remember anything from it, especially if I haven't seen it in a while. So, yeah, I'm a bad Trekkie.
I got the Blu-ray.
I got you beat.
Look at the graphics of that.
Uh-oh.
You've got the Blu-ray just of the double episode.
Yeah, but they spliced it together as like one 90-minute episode. So
so it's like a mini movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's Tyson getting?
I'll be right
I have no idea. He's probably getting some form of vinyl with the score on for the episode or something. Knowing Tyson.
Oh no! I actually I wish I'd have thought of that. I do have a vinyl of Star Trek: The Motion Picture. A vinyl.
Yes, we know.
But
Yes.
this is
Oh, I love
the
that.
laser disc of Star Trek Generations, where Kirk and Picard finally meet, sealed in original packaging from 1993 or 4, or whenever this came out.
94.
And I found this, which, by the way, goes for a lot of money, sealed brand new. I found this for $1 at a thrift store.
But it's
I love
kinda,
that.
It's kind of
You
cool
can
with this,
find-
though, because if you split it open,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah. But
So it goes
from
being Captain to Borg.
Yep.
Yeah, now,
And I-
you know what? Let me see if I can find that vinyl, because now I'm just like, ooh, vinyl.
I've started something now, haven't I? But no, I'm a bad Trekkie. I don't have any Star Trek memorabilia. I don't have. I've got one Star Trek book, graphic novel, and
I got Billie Eilish, although I don't think that's anything to do with Star Trek, but, there we go.
what the hell is that?
I got, most of them are still in storage, but I got over 200 Star Trek novels and books.
No, I have got a Star Trek graphic novel even. Oh dear. I got it in a mystery box from Comic Con
Right on.
last month. Can't remember what it's called. I really can't, but I'm keeping it sealed because I don't read graphic novels. But it looks pretty. I have a Star Trek pin badge, which is a Pride one. But other than that, I don't have any Star Trek stuff. Obviously, I've got movies and things, but in that sense, I'm a bad Trekkie. Oh,
Here we go. Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and this is, look at this. The vinyl cover has all the different scenes, and then on the back, look at this, all the different aliens that appear.
Oh wow!
Cool.
That's all the different aliens, and of course, inside is the vinyl record that contains the motion picture soundtrack.
Nice.
So I'm thinking that we maybe in the future could do a contest, and I'll let you guys figure out what the contest is, and maybe somebody will win this.
Ooh.
We will ship it to their house free of charge. Only rule is you have to own a record player, because I want somebody to actually pull this out and play it and enjoy it. But maybe this will be a contest on a future show for Totally Trek. Maybe somebody will win this. And you can see that I paid $1.99 for it, $1.95.
The DT family not eligible.
Well, so future listener may stay tuned. We may have a contest, and a future viewer of this show may own this record.
Well, the cover of that record has just reminded me. Happy Pride Month, everybody. But yeah, I meant to say that at the beginning of the show, but Tyson, with his lovely vinyl with a massive rainbow on it, has just reminded me that it is Pride Month. So
it is Pride Month. Yes.
Yes.
And if some really special listener might win a cat.
Yeah, I will definitely win that competition.
No, I'm kidding.
Send Callie over to me, darling.
Yes, the record comes with a cat. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you away. All right. Ow, ow, ow. Damn, got claws.
That serves yourself right. No sympathy, self-inflicted.
All right. Well, I will make that record available to whatever contest you guys decide to do. in the near future, and somebody will have it.
Woohoo.
Yes, there's a message for you on the screen, Tyson.
Happy Pride, happy Pride Month, Mala.
Male Kelly to me.
Oh, male Kelly to me. You want to go to Abu Dhabi? Oh wait, that's Odie. Never mind.
No, that's normal.
Oh, Nirmal, that's right. Well, I think Odie got mailed there a couple of times. Nirmal was the one always getting mailed to Abu Dhabi, but I think Odie got it once or twice.
But yeah, kind of circling back with when we were talking about the reveal that Kovich was Agent Daniels from Enterprise. And it's just, uh-oh.
I couldn't remember his name, but as soon as he said, "I've lived many lives," I paused it and I put the note, Kovich, many lives. Is he the time travel dude from Enterprise? I couldn't remember his name. Remember his name. I was like, and then when he said Daniels, I was just like, I can't believe I forgot his name.
No, but I wrote his quote down. Just like, I've lived many years, many lives. I've met few who have impressed me and aggravated me as much as you. As he was totally talking about Archer.
Oh God, yeah. Definitely.
But then that's when they showed like the bottle of Chateau Picard, Geordi's visor. Why the heck he has Geordi's visor? That's like, I put WTF next to that, and then Cisco's baseball. I mean, just like so many nods from the other series.
Well, in Star Trek Lower Decks, there was a lady with a visor too, right? So we have to assume that this is a technology for blind people that might be rare, but does exist beyond just Geordi's visor. There might be other blind people with similar, because we saw that in Lower Decks, which I don't know. Is Lower Decks canon?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Because Billups' planet was mentioned by Reno by 2 episodes ago.
All right,
Iberia.
And I caught that.
Then the visor isn't unique. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I caught that reference. I was so proud of myself for that. But I actually caught that reference to Billups' planet. I don't usually catch things like that, so yay me. But no, I was quite surprised that he had Geordi's visor. But at the same time, it kind of made sense to me. He's got a Cisco's baseball. What else did he have? He had the baseball. He had the visor.
The bottle of Chateau Picard.
Yeah, and the bottle of Chateau Picard. But it's always been said that the person who was the biggest pain in the ass for time travel was Janeway. And he had nothing of Janeway there. So I'm quite surprised about that, because I thought that he would have like Janeway's coffee cup or something.
Well, he had a lot of other stuff behind him that they didn't do close-ups on. So you got to get a big screen to kind of like see all the other stuff. There might have been something Janeway related. We just didn't see it up close.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it to see if there is anything of Janeway's up there, because maybe that's the coffee cup he uses. Very maybe, Marla. But I need to go back and watch it, because I only managed to watch it once. And I took notes while I was watching it, and I was supposed to watch it again just to watch it, but I didn't get the chance. No, sod's law. Everything happened all at once. But I really want to go back and have a look on those shelves to see what else he's got, to see if I can recognize anything else, because I'm sure there's a few little Easter eggs in there. Because I know that obviously Picard's time traveled, and like all the others have as well, but it's always been said that Janeway has been the biggest pain in the ass for doing it. So I was really surprised that there was no close-up of something of Janeway's. But yeah, I do need to do need to
Well,
watch it again.
you know, time, yeah. Cisco did time travel and brought tribbles back from extinction, as we saw with Quark's Bar, which was hilarious.
Oh, I love that.
You know, I don't know, because you had the two times. I mean, were those who went and interviewed Cisco? Were they temporal agents? Or
Yeah,
were they,
the Department of Temporal Investigations.
but were they temporal agents, though? Did they themselves time travel? Or did they only investigate time travel?
I think they just investigated.
So, you know, there's another bureaucracy. You have the actual temporal agents that do time travel, like Daniels. Then you have like a temporal investigative body that don't time travel, like the ones who interviewed. It's really interesting.
Yeah. But
So
no,
do
they
Callers?
Pat Starfleet, I think. I don't know.
Sorry, there's a time delay. I didn't mean to talk over you. I'm rural, so my internet's kind of slow. Do we have?
No,
are there any
by all
callers?
means.
There's no one.
Carry on.
There's no one else in the backstage. It's just the three of us tonight. Which I'm
Ooh,
kinda-
look,
just like,
if you're watching this show live, come on, talk to us. I only bite a little.
yeah, we got 25
I got
viewers
no
right
comment
now,
on that.
so I know Maul is one of them. So she just can't do it tonight. And saying Travis, he can't do it because he was been without power, and having no power with it 90 degrees outside makes it difficult to sleep when he's.
Oh, for those of you who
works,
don't know, there's a huge heat dome over the Pacific Southwest right now. Temperatures in parts of California are in triple digits. It's awful.
Yeah, and I've been reading that there's a Pineapple Express type weather system just dumping rain on the Pacific Northwest.
They got it lucky because we're in the Southwest where I live, and it's hot as can't say that word on here. Hot as Hades. Let me say that.
Yeah, it's supposed to get close to 90 here in the Springs tomorrow. So that's upper 90s, I would guess, for like Pueblo, and like is for you get further southeast in Colorado.
So in California's Central Desert, Death Valley, I'll tell you exactly how hot it'll be tomorrow.
111.
57 it'll be here tomorrow. Highs are 57 here.
Here we go. Right now it's 101 in Death Valley.
Oh, God.
And by Thursday, it's going to be 113.
111, I was close.
Tomorrow, it'll be 111 tomorrow. It'll be 113 on Thursday.
Okay, so I was right on the 111. Woohoo!
No, I'd die. I really would. I mean, it's going to be what did I say? 57 tomorrow, and that'll probably cause me problems. I mean, I don't usually work in Fahrenheit, but usually.
Yeah.
Okay, so 113 degrees Fahrenheit is 45 degrees Celsius.
Oh yeah, it was it 42 last summer it reached here, and that was about 108. But usually when it gets to any higher than about 17, 18 degrees Celsius, that's when I start suffering, and I can't. I really can't. It's wrong. Honestly, Mother Nature is such a bitch.
I just realized something completely unrelated, but I'm just now realizing this. I last weekend took my dog with me to Barrel One Winery, and this is the cat's leash, and I have to be careful not to show that because she'll go apeshit and think she's going to be taken out for a walk. But I scoured my room looking for the dog's leash, couldn't find it, so I took the cat's leash and I put it on the dog, and I took the dog with me to Barrel One. And they loved her. It was a great fun. But as I'm watching myself on camera right now, right above my head, you see what this is right there?
It's a dog leash.
I'm only now seeing this.
Oh, Tyson. I think my ditziness is rubbing off on you, my sweet.
I must have spent an hour tearing the room apart looking for the dog's leash. Couldn't find it. Ended up using the cat's leash. There it is. Right there. Oh my God! And I'm only now seeing it because I'm never in this position when I'm on camera. So I'm only now looking at that, and I'm like, holy fuck, there it is. Oh, Jesus.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, I got it.
But no, that is just, that's beautiful. It really is, Tyson. I do stuff like that all the time. Do you know what? What one? I just got some new earphones, and they were corded ones, and I had them in my hand, and then I somehow put them down because I was looking for something else, and I lost these earphones, and I'm like, where the hell have I put them? And I had a few things at the end of my bed because I was like in the middle of sorting things out, and I was lifting things up and looking all over. One of the things I lifted up were the earphones. Even register.
I think everybody's done this at one point in their life where they're looking all over for where's my glasses? Can't find my where's my glasses?
See, I've never put my glasses up on my head like that because they just fall right back on my face again.
I have. If I need to read something close up, I'll have them on. But then if I look at something far away, I move them up so I can see it. And then I go back to my phone. I'm like, wait, what did I do with my glasses? I'm looking all over. I actually did that, and Michael was looking at me. He thought I was playing, right? He's looking at me like I am completely retarded. He's looking at me like, are you being serious? What are you talking about? Where's your glass? You know where your glasses? I know. I'm looking. Where are my glasses? And he's like, keep looking. And I'm like, I am. I don't know where they are. And then he walks over to me and he goes, poop.
Yeah.
You asshole. You let me look for 20 minutes while you were sitting there giving me the shit face. All right. Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, I just looked at my phone app. It's supposed to be hitting about 90, so 32 C for Katie for the next 3 days.
I hate
No.
Yeah, it's saying it's Friday. It's supposed to be like a 30% chance of some. Well, it's pretty much, tomorrow and Thursday, mostly sunny. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
But you guys get snow though, right? You
What's
get
that?
snow where you live in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
We don't get snow.
Yeah,
Too
but
far
it's
south.
Yeah, same, but it goes from 90 on Friday to 82 on Saturday to 71 on Sunday. And then it's supposed to be upper 60s, low 70s, and it's supposed to next Wednesday supposed to start going back up again. But meteorology,
I'm dreading
it's a
warmer. I really am, because like I say, at the moment, it's like, as it stands now, it's about 45 here. Tomorrow it's going to be highs of like 57. Thursday 59, then it slowly edges up into the 60s, but it's only slowly creeping. But when it starts getting to like mid 70s, that's when I'll be just like, no, I'd rather go pay Lucifer a visit and suffer that heat than suffer this heat. Because honestly, it's, if you're going to have heat like that, just go for a vacation to hell.
For those who are new to Technically Trek, we've moved past the Trek part and we're now into the technically part. We're technically talking about something other than Trek.
because is there anything else? else that we wanted to talk about the episode? Because I
I
think looking at my
actually,
notes, I think I got everything.
it's 7:45, so I have to peace out.
One thing,
Yep.
Galaxian pirates. When did they grow a backbone?
What?
Who? What?
Galaxian pirates. Book mentioned Talaxian pirates.
Oh,
When
Talaxian,
did
yeah.
Talaxians grow a pair? I'm sorry, but they are probably one of the most cowardly species I've ever come across, apart from, Ferengi. But, eventually. But, yeah, I didn't realize that there were, Talaxian pirates. I know that there were traders and things like that, but I've never seen them as ruthless. They've always been very scaredy.
Yeah, they are passive. Remember at the end of Voyager when they found that asteroid full of Talaxians and the Talaxians weren't fighting back, and Neelix had to, with Voyager's help, fight back. Yeah, you're right. They're not a very aggressive species unless
it's been 800 years.
Yeah, I mean that one act might have started them down a new course. And what about the Ocampa? I wonder whatever happened with them.
Well, yeah, there is that. But now I was just like, when did Talaxians grow up, enough to be able to become pirates? Because you've got to be pretty ruthless to be a pirate. I mean, that's Cassie. But
yeah.
But you've got to be pretty ruthless to be a pirate, and you've got to like. No, I was joking about Cassie. But you've got to. You've got to have like severe lack of morals to be a pirate. And you've got to get your hands dirty. You've got to not give a shit about other races, other people, or even your own, and that's just not a Talaxian for me. That's more like how the original Ferengi were portrayed. And yeah, it was just weird hearing Talaxian pirates. Or is that just me? Am I?
No, I did make a note on that. That seemed a little odd, in my opinion. It took me off guard. But no, when they did the montage on the bridge of the de-evolved or Discovery, so they could send it out in the future for a craft to find in 1,000 years, we actually did get to see Oo and Detmer at the very end.
First, one last thing before I go, because I know Mala's listening. I was just looking at my phone. Dave will talk after the show, but Mala, thanks for looking into that. I think you're right. I think that might be it. So we'll have to talk to Cassie about that. Yeah. So yeah, well, I'll tell Dave after the show, and then maybe Dave can. But it's not appropriate for air, not here. But I do have to go. It is getting time for me to take my sleepy pills, get my dinner ready, put the dog out. And again, Mala, thank you so much for that. And Dave, call me when the show's over, but I'm going to go ahead and jet.
Okay, sounds good. Talk to you in a bit.
Okay. Love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, but yeah, saying with Owen Detmer saying, because of course, again, they didn't think season 5 was going to be the end, so they were going to bring them back because the actresses had other commitments, just like Doug Jones had. That's why we didn't get Saru for a couple episodes. But having them kind of just like partying on the bridge there. But also an interesting little tidbit was the fact that even though Culber was there, it was actually digitally added as saying because Wilson Cruz wasn't available, so they had to just put him in there, which I think may also, because I remember seeing a group photo of a bunch of the crew outside the rechristened Star Trek studios in Toronto, and my first thought is, where's Wilson Cruz? Why isn't he there? What's going on?
Yes, and that just made me even more worried about Hugh. I thought, oh my God, is Wilson Cruz not there? Because have they actually killed Hugh off? I mean, if they had have done, even though that they've cancelled the show, if they'd have killed him off, I would have profusely complained to Paramount on every, I'd have done it on social media, I'd have emailed them, I would have sent them a handwritten letter, and I would have gone all out in complaining, because I love him. He is adorable. He really is.
And to use Leftwich's, we'll say for me, he's a lot of giggity.
You see, I can't really comment on that. He is a very good-looking bloke, but that's all I can go on because not my cup of tea. But
yeah, well, he's definitely my cup of tea.
Well, I know Tilly's more my cup of tea. I love her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if see, I can see her be like a good female companion for a gay man. I don't want to say the term, but I think it's not very politically correct nowadays. But
yeah,
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I definitely do. But no, I absolutely love Tilly because she is so bubbly. She is so happy. She is so intelligent and she is such a good friend. And I love her. I really do. I know nothing about the actress who plays her,
Mary
but
Wiseman.
I love the character of Tilly. Yeah, Mary Wiseman. I don't know anything about her, but I adore Tilly. I really do. I love Michael as well. I mean, I've always. Oh, so would I, Marla, and then some. My apologies. Marla's a bad influence on me tonight. But love you, Marla. but no, I mean, from the off, I've loved Michael. Michael is just amazing. I understand Michael. I mean, I did a complete psychological profile on Michael a few episodes ago when we was still on Twitter, X. But no, from the off, I've loved Michael. I've understood her. I've defended her when other fans have gone off on her, but I've loved her from the off, and the same with Tilly. Oh yeah, definitely, I agree, Marla. I won't say any more on that though. Get your mind out the gutter, sir.
Too late for that.
As well, Marla. But no, from the off, I've loved Hugh as well. That they are my three top characters in Disco. And Jet, I absolutely love Jet.
Oh, I wish we had more of her in this last episode.
Oh, definitely. I would love to have seen more of her in the entire series. To be quite honest, but yes, it is Marla. I completely agree. The gutter is crowded with you and Dave. I'm just I'm as innocent as the day I was hatched. So. But no, they are my best characters from there, and I just wish that we'd have got to have seen more of Jet, because some of the one-liners that she comes out with is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and she just says things so casually as well. That's what makes it even better. But no, I will miss Discovery. I really will.
But at least with Starfleet Academy being set in the time frame of Discovery, we might have a cameo or two with some of the characters from the show. We can hope.
Very hopefully. But I mean, if they do Star Trek Academy, like Starfleet Academy thing, maybe we will get, little cameos and things like that. I'll still be pissed off because
I don't think it's been confirmed, but I'm saying Mary Wiseman better be a part of it, because she's going to be a mentor, part of the mentor program, and she is like 30, 40 years, however long the ending of Discovery was based out of, where she was said to be the longest tenured instructor. Saying so, fingers crossed we still get more of her.
I hope so. And I hope that, like, case scenario that actually happens, which, fingers crossed, people, sending much hope out there into the universe with all my witchiness. But I'm hoping that if that happens, we do get cameos from the Discovery crew. And not just as a one-off, neither, with maybe 2 or 3 episodes in a row. And maybe one of them goes to be like a short-time mentor for some of the students, or like a guest lecturer or something, but over the course of a couple of episodes, because that'd be really nice.
Yeah, but we're fast approaching 2 hours, and since it's only the 2 of us right now, I think we're going to call it good for this week.
Yes, I've really enjoyed this first episode, barring the technical difficulties at the beginning, but it was quite funny.
Yeah, and it's all my fault. It's just like I forgot I had, like I said, YouTube was open in a separate tab, and it's that delay, just like, ooh, mute, problem solved.
Yes, so be mindful of that. And also for anyone who's watching now, who is going to be watching in the future, who also wants to appear on the show in the future, please, please, please avoid that. So if you've still got your YouTube up, mute it before you come on, or you will get the echo.
Yeah, you'll be thrown off like I was.
Yeah, and it's very annoying.
Yeah, saying so, it's definitely a learning curve. I mean, the only thing, the show can go up from here, so.
Definitely, and join us next week, where we are going to be discussing the double episode from TNG, Best of Both Worlds. Just to refresh everybody's memory, it's when Picard gets assimilated, becomes Locutus. That's all I'll say about it. Please, 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 if you don't recall that episode, please give it a watch, and then come and join us to have a natter about it next week.
Yeah, and it's on Paramount Plus, so hopefully, as long as either that, like some people say, I haven't watched it in years, but I still remember that episode of saying I'm going to watch it because I can.
Well, yeah, and also, don't forget to check out Dangerous Thoughts on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, it's at Dangerous Thoughts on YouTube and on Twitter and /X. And saying everyone keeps on wanting to call X. Saying I'm old school. I've had my account since March 09. It's Twitter for me.
And the website is still twitter.com.
Yep, that too.
So, yeah.
But until next week, everyone, this is Technically Trek. Hailing frequencies are now closed.
Doodles.